to the Tool Station Northern Counties East League podcast. I'm Richard Watts. I'm joined by League General Manager Matt Jones, who's going to give us an update from the league.
Okay, well, hello everybody. Good news is that the season is now complete. All the fixtures are out of the way. And I think there were points during the season, a long season, there were points where we thought we maybe wouldn't get there with the weather. But we did it. And a big thank you to all clubs, spectators, volunteers, everybody for having the patience and the perseverance to come to these fixtures, get everything done in a season that's overrun by 3 or 4 weeks from the original plan. Start this week by saying congratulations to Beverley Town, promoted to the Northern Counties East League Premier Division for next season after winning on penalties against Shirebrook in the playoff final on Saturday. Only their second year with us, done really well to get where they are. Saturday's game was a 1-1 draw, really close game. We thought it would be. Two really well-matched teams, one with 103 points at the end of the season, one with 100. And what a fantastic crowd. Somehow there were 1,525 people packed into that stadium, which exceeded all expectations. When I spoke to Beverley earlier on in the week, they were hoping for 1,000. Absolutely smashed that out of the water. Thank you to all the staff at the ground who worked their socks off on Saturday, and I think Saturday night in Beverley would have been quite a lively night, to say the least, because the atmosphere was fantastic. And that was both sides as well. Shirebrook travelled in numbers, good banter between the fans, no trouble. Everybody mixed in, no segregation. For me, that's how non-league should be, so thank you to everybody. Prior to that one, we had our League Cup final. The JCP Construction League Cup winners were Parkgate. And something who I think people were a bit surprised, they beat Emily 3-0. So that Emily who won our Premier Division against Parkgate who won Division 1. And in the final, obviously, Parkgate's beaten Emily. In the semi-final, they've beaten Campion, who finished second in our Premier Division. I think the signs for Parkgate next season going forward into the Premier Division, if they keep this side together, looking really good, because they've beaten some really top sides. Congratulations to Parkgate winning the League Cup and League Double. We're now at the point of the season where everybody's waiting to see how the leagues will line up next season. The FA will still be working on where to place teams that have been promoted, how many teams from divisions to relegated, who to reprieve, that kind of thing. It's usually we would get that information from the FA around the middle to the third week of May. I'm imagining it might be slightly later this week because there's still 1 or 2 leagues at our level, step 5 and 6, that haven't finished. There's a playoff final tomorrow evening, I believe. The FA, it's a tough job, and I've seen how they do it. They've got a big office down at Wembley where the committee meet. There's a map with loads of different coloured pins in. They're going up, they're going down, and they move all the coloured pins about. What would happen if we put this team there? If we put them there, where do they go? And it's moving pins about on a map. It's nothing more technical than that, really. The aim is to put everybody in a league that geographically suits them. We've had 7 applicants to come up from the feeder leagues. I would imagine we would probably get 3 or 4 of them actually given promotion. Obviously, we've already got 23 teams at step 6 this season, so we've got to make space somewhere for these new teams to come in. A very difficult job. Wouldn't fancy doing it myself, but hopefully everybody will be allocated to an appropriate league for the where they want to be. We have to know about 2 or 3 weeks before our AGM the proposed constitution for the next season. And the reason for that is that the constitution is ratified by the member clubs at our AGM, which this year is on the 22nd of June. There's a pack of information that goes out to the clubs before that, at least 2 weeks before, and that information will be in there for clubs to have a look at and digest. So ideally, I would expect to know in the next week to 2 weeks from the FA their initial allocations for the leagues for next season. And it needs to be in for that time as well, because teams that are laterally moved or put in a league they don't agree with, don't want to go to have time to appeal as well. So they really can't go any later than that. Fixtures for the new season, I've already started planning. Clubs fill in a form which is due into the league by June the 1st. It's called Form D, big long form. It contains all the details we use for our handbooks. It contains details, all financial information, who the officers of the clubs are, everything like that, club colours, and dates where grounds can't be used. We have a number of teams that have restricted access on the grounds, particularly at the end of the season and the start of the season due to cricket. But there's other things as well that maybe only affect 1 or 2 clubs. On the 27th of July, which is the season start date for us, the Tramlines Festival is on in Sheffield, so Handsworth and Hallam would probably both like to be away. Hallam also have cricket. Shirebrook Town, twice a year, have whippet racing. Doesn't affect any other club, but there's 2 dates there where they can't play at home. Other grounds may have weddings. There's building work going on at some new changing rooms, new bar facilities, that kind of thing. And 2 or 3 clubs have already dug up the pitches, putting new drainage down and things like that. So all these kind of factors are taken into account. I'm starting planning the fixtures now. We always aim not to send clubs on long midweek journeys if we can. It doesn't always come to fruition. I think I send Barton to Eccleshill on Tuesday every year. We'll keep that tradition going for next season. We do try to make the long journeys on a Saturday. We try to give clubs derbies at Christmas time and Easter time and things like that. It's one of the hardest jobs I do, and last year, the season that's just finished, particularly hard with the number of postponements. And while it's nice to schedule long journeys on a Saturday, if a game then gets postponed, sometimes it will only go in a midweek. Both teams only have a blank midweek or two, and we have to slot it where it goes. So can't win with that one. It's a job that whatever you do, you upset somebody, and I just try and do my best for everybody.
I'm now joined by the management team from Parkgate, Scott Mason, who's the manager, and Keelan Hall is assistant. And first of all, congratulations on your fantastic double. When you go back to the start of the season, what were your sort of aims at the start of the season?
Do you want me to go first, Keelan?
Yeah.
Basically, it was always to attack the league and try and get playoffs, try and be up there competing and what have you. And as the season were going on and pre-season were going on, we'd put a squad together that were looking really competitive. Like, we played Rotherham United in a friendly, and lads played really well. I think it was 2-0, and that was the best result they've ever had against them. And you could see that we had a squad. Then we went and played Works up in another friendly, and we competed against them. Lost 2-1 at their place, I think it were. In last 5-10 minutes, I think it were. We were 1-0 up, and they got 2 at end. I know they're only friendlies, but you're looking and thinking, we've got a chance here with this squad. And that's where we just pushed on and kicked on. We had a good pre-season. Did a lot of running, which they were moaning about, but did a lot of got training going in a couple of days a week. We were looking sharp come start season, and we just went on a run and just kept winning, and it just carried on from there, to be fair.
Yeah, and I think we said it as a management team, didn't we, right from the start? Our aim this year is to win this league. I don't think anybody were looking at us as favourites or even up there. And I think it's because, even though, I mean, I went there last year, but Scott was and did a great job last year. And the Parkgate was still in the bottom 3 until the last week of the season. But towards the end of the season, as Scott's been building the squad to what it was last summer, they were getting some really, really good results. Not consistent, but yeah, there was the foundations were starting. So I think we went a little bit under the radar as well. So we're looking at it in pre-season, going, do you know what? With this squad, we think we can win the league, and we believed it from day one. And like Scott's just said, in all competitions we won the first 12 or 13 games. Right at the start of the season, and then your momentum builds, people start believing within the squad. We kicked on from there.
And I guess the only hiccup was when the weather started playing havoc for you, and you suddenly playing catch up. When as you sort of got further behind games wise, were you starting to think this could be a problem?
We got a little bit behind because the floodlight failed earlier on, early doors. We put them on and to test them, and they just failed. So we lost 2 games at home then. But then, like you said, we've had worse weather we've had in years, and they'd spent a good £30,000 down at Roundwood on drainage and what have you, and that couldn't cope with it. Even the bottom pitches where Rotherham United train couldn't cope with it. They're spending like 300 to 600 grand on it. I've been told. 300 or 6 on their bit. So weather were horrendous, and then you go into places and they're calling off as well, and you suddenly we were losing games. We were falling behind, but in a good position. So we were chucking odd training session in. We were having fun sessions more than anything else. We were having 5-a-side sessions. Lads were enjoying it. And we just kept doing that when we were getting called off, and it was just keeping group together and having a bit of fun more than putting these technical sessions in and what have you that people try and do. It's just go and enjoy it and work hard in 5-a-sides and do a little bit of running. That's what we did. And lads look after themselves. So yeah, we were falling behind, but they were still keeping themselves fit. So
yeah, I think we had a bit of a mindset. We had a bit of a mindset change as well, didn't we? I mean,
yeah.
we were getting further and further behind, and we were starting to overanalyze it and look at where the games are going to go in, and we knew we were going to have a backlog and we were going to have a really hectic back end of the season. But there were a point where we just went, you know what? It is what it is. It's out of our control. We can't change it. Let's just deal with it. And I think from that point, we should stop talking about it being a problem, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Because we were looking at squad and we were thinking we need to freshen this match up and swap it about a little bit. And we did it. We've got the squad to do that. We've got, as bench, can all start. Whoever's in that squad, they're all starters. But it got to a point where we thought, well, we got to that mad running. We played a team and we thought we're going to stick with same 11 again. And then we did it again. And then we did it again. It's like, look, let's just go here. Let's stop overthinking it, like Keelan says. And yeah, we went on the run again. So
when you think you're dealing with part-time players and you hear professional managers talk about too many games and things like that, I think, did you have something like 18 games in March and April? And the fitness of the players must be incredible to keep that level going.
Yeah, I think it was 14 games from the 28th of March onwards. So I think it works out just over a game every 2 days. It's just it were unbelievable. But yeah, but like Scott said, then we were kind of looking at it, going, we're going to freshen it up, and we're going to change that, and change this. And in the end, we just, if people were tired, if lads were tired, we gave them a little bit of a rest, but we didn't try and overthink it. But yeah, I think it's one thing playing that amount of games. It's another thing, like what we've done right at the end of the season, winning the last 9, all against top sides. That's a different story, isn't it? And where they found the energy levels to compete in those games, and like even right at the last game, the cup final against Emily, we just looked so fit, so much energy,
fit and sharp,
yeah. And Scott alluded to it earlier, actually, but I think the way we've kind of looked at training this year, and we've probably put on about 4 actual training sessions during the season, and we've added in a few 5-a-sides because we know, and I know that the NCEL Division 1 league this year, there was a lot of games. So 44 games plus all your cup games. We probably played 60 plus games. You chuck your pre-season games into that, you're touching 70. So we know if we're then putting in tough training sessions in the middle of the week every week, it's going to sap their energy. So I think that has had a factor towards the end of the season, and like we said, the lads unbelievably remained relatively fresh. We've done things like we put recovery pods in the changing rooms, so after the games, they're all in the kind of ice pods. And things like that, and we've got additional support in from a physio point of view. But other than that, the lads have gone and done their own recoveries as well, so it's a credit to them, really.
We've got quite a few lads that play Sunday footy and all, and we were stressing like mad at that when we're saying we're playing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then they're chucking the Sunday games in, and then they're making finals and playing finals around our final we've just played, and it's like, lads. And we were over stressing on that as well. But look, look, we're like Keelan says, the fitness levels at the end of it all have been unbelievable, and they did really. We heard that Emily are good regards fitness and what have you, and they even said that we out running, we out battled, and we out did everything. And to be fair, with quality we had as well, they deserved it on the night, and that's fine.
Certainly, when you think that Emily had dominated the league, they had good runs in the FA Cup, in the FA Vars, and you, like you say, it was very good value, I thought, for your win. Are there any sort of big players that you'd mention, or has it just been a complete squad game?
It's absolutely been a squad game. We've mentioned it briefly beforehand, but we've got 21 players all in all. There ain't no squad players. They're all starters. You can trust any one of them to start. And they've all been fantastic. So we've got full trust in the squad.
We've had times when we've had to call upon a few players that have just registered with us to help us out as well. And they've come in and been fantastic. I'll go back to one game away at Ormthorpe when Stevie Otwell come in. I think he played a couple of games for us, but he changed game for us at half time, and we were 1-0 down, and we won 2-1 in the end. And he got man at match, and he come in to help us. And now we've had a couple of others like Johnny Hills, who's experienced at this level, and then Harry Day, who really wants to be a big part of the squad, but he struggled. He hasn't struggled. He's been excellent for us, but when the other lads have been available, they've been excellent. And in this position, it's been hard to get him in there. But I'm sure he'll come pre-season and try and push them boys for next season. So, like Keelan said, it's been a squad effort, and plus a few others. A couple of reserves have played for us, which has given them a bit of experience as well. So when we've had to call upon them, so it's been a big effort from everybody.
I think outside in as well, people probably look at your big players that they consider your bigger players, your more experienced ones. So Danny Patterson, who's a serial winner, he's won this league over and over again. And Ross Duggan, who's got 39 goals this season. That's kind of what people look at outside in. But they both had really, really disruptive seasons. So yeah, Danny from an injury point of view, just constantly picking up injuries and having to recover from it. He's probably got injured 6-7 times over the course of a season. Ross Duggan got injured at the end of August and he was out for 4 months nearly. And it took him a couple of months after that to get back to anywhere near full fitness. So they've had these lads have had really disruptive seasons in a way, but that's why the squad's so important. Because I mean, at any point if Ross or Danny or if anyone else is missing through injury, we've got lads that could just step in and they've done that and done the job brilliantly.
Yeah.
Have you got a favourite game from the season?
Oof, favourite game. Yeah.
I'll go first, actually. So I think for me, it's difficult. It's between the two, the game where we won the league and the game where we won the cup. But I think the One game, just with how much we put into it. We beaten Retford a couple of days earlier. How much we put into the back, especially the back end of the season, and just the relief of that game, really. We won 2-0, pretty comfortable in the end. I think we got the second goal midway through the second half, and just the scenes after it, really. So that I think that'll long live in my memory for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That run of them last games, there's quite a lot I could probably pick on. The Retford game, yeah, that were a massive win. That put them in a great position to go to Unwell. But the way we performed overnight in final, blooming egg, yeah, that'll be up there as well. So definitely.
Yeah, I think the game that for me was a bit of a turning point as well, because we'd had a couple of bad results leading up to it, and we played Ollerton at home, who had finished bottom of the league, and at half time it was 1-1, and we just a couple of days earlier, we'd drawn a game with Yorkshire Amateur at home, 0-0. And I just got to think back to the words that were said in the changing room at half time, and we basically had a discussion between ourselves and the lads that look, we've got so many games left. It's the back end of the season. It's been a brilliant season. Let's just go out and enjoy it. And I think we probably put a lot of pressure on ourselves and the lads over the weeks before that. And I think that conversation, it just felt like it relieved a load of pressure. Second half, they went out and played a lot more freely. And from that point, that's where we've gone and kicked on and won the remaining 8-9 games. But that just felt like a bit of a turning point for me.
No, I've got to agree with him on that. Yeah, it was a good conversation in the dressing room, to be fair. And we come out of that with the 3 points and pushed on. Yeah, got to agree with that.
And my final question would be, what are your thoughts about next season? Will you have the bulk of the squad you've had this year?
We'd like to think we're going to have. I mean, from the talks I've been having with a couple of players, so far we will be contacting them this week. I don't expect anybody to leave. I know that there's teams coming in for them and looking at them, but look, we've had a good season. We've got good facilities. We've just played against 4 or 5 out of that league, is it, and competed with them and beat them, and obviously won cup, so in the league. So we'll. I don't think there'll be many wanting to go anywhere unless they get the Reds turn higher than us. The younger lads, especially, because obviously they'll want to run play as high as they can possibly play. But is it right time for them to go? I don't know. We'll let them have a go. Hopefully we'll still be having them at pre-season, and we can keep them.
Yeah. There's no plans to make major changes, is there, really?
No, not at all.
There's such a togetherness in that squad and that group of lads that you don't want to touch it too much. So we may need to bring a player or two in just to freshen it up, or to look at different ways of playing or whatever. But it's not going to need much, definitely. And I think the big thing for me is just keeping that group of lads together, because they've been unbelievable. I'm confident that they can cope with the league above. And like I said, there's such a togetherness in that group. It's you don't want to be. We're definitely not going to be ripping it up and starting again. That is a fact.
But when you look at how well Rossington and Campion did this season, and then you've destroyed the best team in the league by far on Wednesday night. If I could get a couple of quid on you with Paddy Power, I think I'd be having it.
But if we can keep that squad fully together, I think I'd be having it and all. But
what I don't.
I'm sure we will. Because, like you said, they're a good group. They're all going to Benidorm. Majority are going to Benidorm, and they'll go and enjoy what they've done. And then we'll call them in for pre-season. But
what I don't like is people are kind of looking at us now because of what we've done back into the season and going, you're probably going to be favourites. We've tried to stay under the radar all season, haven't we? We've been written off. We've got motivation from that. So I think after this podcast, we're going to have to go into hiding a little bit again and go back under the radar.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly sort of like looking back at the season, the number of games you had to play late on, you would have thought it was impossible to do what you did. But you've done it.
Agreed.
I think we had a few messages off of certain people on my phone, especially saying, "Are you going to cope with it? Are you going to do it?" And it was just a little bit of, listen, texting us saying it, and we just passed messages on it. Lads, go and do it. Simple as that. It just they've been fantastic. So the cope with it, and I think they will cope in league above, without a doubt.
Worth looking at how Parkgate ended the season. From the 11th of April, they won 11 of their 12 matches. On the 11th, they were at home to Selby Town and beat them 6-1. On the 13th, they were at home to Yorkshire Amateur and were held to a 0-0 draw. On the 16th, they won 5-1 at Allerton Town. On the 18th of April, they won 2-0 at Harrogate Railway Athletic. On the 20th of April, they won 2-1 at Louth Town. On the 23rd of April, they won 3-2 at home to Retford United. On the 25th, they won 2-0 at Wombwell Town. On the 27th, this was League Cup game. They beat Silsden 2-1 at home. On the 29th, they won 3-1 at Shirebrook Town. And then moving into May, League Cup semi-final, they beat Campion 2-0. And then finally on the 8th of May, the League Cup final at Scunthorpe United, they won 3-0 against Emley. That's it for this edition. If you've got any news for the podcast or you'd like to appear on the podcast, please email ncelpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.